If this year has taught me anything, it's that paddle technology and materials are still a long way from reaching their final form. There's still many processes, ideas, and materials such as Kevlar, titanium, foam, and even fiberglass that we haven't fully explored yet. Introducing the newest material on the block, this is the new lava paddle from Revolin. Okay, it's not actually made of lava, it's made of basalt, which is a type of fine-grained volcanic rock that forms from the rapid cooling of basaltic lava exposed at or very near the surface of the planet. This might be the closest thing I can get to becoming a lava bender, so, I'll take it. For those of you who don't know, Revolin is a sustainably focused company based out of Michigan. In an effort to create high-performance paddles with sustainability in mind, Revolin has developed the new Revo Pro. Now, the TLDR is, I think they succeeded in creating something that performs really, really well and adheres to their mission. But it wasn't easy. The original Revo paddle that used hemp fibers in the paddle face, while interesting, was not a great performer when it came to what modern pickleball players wanted or needed from their paddles. In fact, you can check out my original review of that paddle from about a year ago in the link here or below in the description. Needless to say, Revolin has greatly improved upon their Revo paddles, and this may just get the most improved award from me. Let's get into the reasons why, but before that, I need to know why you haven't already hit that like button on this video yet. It's free and the easiest way for you to support the channel. Before I get into my thoughts, here are some specs on the paddles for those of you that care. They have some solid specs, and you can go to Braden from Pickleball Effects website for some comparisons to other paddles out there. In short, these Revo Pros are very comparable to a lot of the other great paddles out there on the market right now. All right, next, let's discuss the power and pop of these Revo Pros, which is significantly better than last year's regular Revo series of paddles. The original Revo series used hemp fibers in the face, which, although innovative, didn't offer the same energy return as the raw carbon fiber paddles offered on the market at the time. This improvement comes from the basalt fibers used in the paddle face now. Basalt, while new to pickleball, is not necessarily new to sporting equipment. I know for a fact that it's used in a lot of high-performance sporting goods, from skis to bikes, hockey sticks, and tennis rackets, just to name a few. I wouldn't say these paddles are as poppy as some of the fiberglass options out there, but more in line with the raw carbon fiber variants, such as the double black diamond, maybe the ruby, bread and butter filth, the Harache, and maybe in between the prism and regular Vadix, just to give you guys a rough ballpark on what you can expect from these paddles. Needless to say, I think that's great because all of those paddles I just mentioned are really great all-court paddles. So what you can expect from the Revo Pros are great ground strokes, serves, and returns from the baseline, and also in transition. If you have fairly decent put-away power, your smashes and overheads will not be coming back, especially if you have the opportunity to win at the point. Energy return is also not due to any thermoform construction. I know a lot of paddles released this year derives their power from the stiffness and additional weight found in thermoformed and sealed edges, but you won't find that here in the Revo Pro. You can see the exposed polymer here without the edge guard with the core of the paddle right here. The basalt fibers play very similar in terms of power, but probably with just a tad bit less pop, since basalt fibers are naturally a bit less stiff than carbon fiber. I think that this brings some better touch and to players that don't like that really poppy feel off the paddle face. If I had to make a huge overgeneralization of how this basalt face plays, I would say that fiberglass is the most powerful and stiff feeling, followed by carbon fiber, which is then closely followed by basalt, then Kevlar. Just keep in mind, this is just an overgeneralization. There are, of course, going to be exceptions, and the way a paddle's face is layered, to how many layers used, and in what direction the layout is, along with the amount of resin, and of course the core, can all have impacts on how stiff a paddle plays or feels. Speaking of feel, let's get into that a bit more with the Revolin Revo Pro, which still uses a polypropylene honeycomb core. It's not the stiffest feeling paddle, but it's not the softest either. It's definitely more stiff feeling than, say, a Selkirk Vanguard Control, but not as stiff as a 6-0 Black Diamond. You won't have any issues really trying to hit finesse shots and drops with this thing. Shots off the face have good feedback and just enough firmness that you can really tell how much extra force you need to apply to your shot. It's not completely muted though, so if you like that really soft pillow feel, this isn't it. I'd probably say the feel is very close to the Vatic Prism series in terms of touch. I actually think that the touch on this paddle is probably one of its best attributes. I really enjoy that more poppy feedback with just a touch of forgiveness for faster balls and resets and blocks. Basically, there just seems to be more give in the paddle face when it's dealing with speed. If you like to slow down balls for resets and blocks, I think this paddle excels at that. The one thing that this paddle excels at is speed though. Both the Revo Pro, Reach, and the Pure come in at very low swing weights of 109 and 103 respectively. Those are very good numbers if you are a player that enjoys very maneuverable paddles or really like to be able to customize your paddle by adding weight around the perimeter at various places. I found this kind of interesting because basalt is denser and heavier than carbon fiber usually, so I expected the Revo Pros to feel heavier than similar carbon fiber paddles with the same specs. Although basalt fiber is also strong and durable, its higher density means it doesn't have the same strength to weight ratio of carbon fiber. However, because of that density, basalt fibers excel in vibration dampening, impact resistance, and probably contributes to the great feel and touch of the paddle. I would categorize this paddle as an all-court paddle that slightly leans power. It pretty much has all the attributes you need for a great all-court paddle. It doesn't really have any truly top-tier performance in any one category, but performs well in just about all of them. If there was one category I wish it did just slightly better in, is spin. Now, the spin is totally acceptable and I think competes with all the main brand of paddles that you are probably familiar with out there, but don't expect it to dip shots like a Fresh Pro XR or a PaddleTech Bantam. Although it uses a similar resin peel-ply texture found on other raw carbon fiber paddles you see, it's not as gritty as some of them. Fun fact, I was told that Revolin sources their resin from a US-based company with over 40 plus experience, and from what I understand is that all of Revolin's paddles are still 100% made in the USA. With all this talk of resin, I know grit isn't the end-all be-all, but I think if Revolin were to be able to just get a bit more texture on the paddle face coupled with their more forgiving basalt face, you could really generate some more aggressive spin-heavy shots in the kitchen for off-the-bounce speed-ups and rolls. Again, it's really not that big of a deal. I could totally go to a tournament tomorrow with this Revo Pro and be able to compete with no real problems. So is it dope or no? Definitely, without a doubt, dope. I mean, the thing is made out of lava. Okay, you know by now it's not what you mean, but you know what I mean. The Revo Pros pretty much play like raw carbon fiber face paddles, and quite honestly, I think these paddles perform and compete with some of the best paddles out there on the market right now in terms of power, pop, spin, and touch. The fact that they were able to do that with the constraints they are putting on themselves is dope in itself. For real though, Revolin is truly playing the game on hard mode. While it's easy nowadays to source products overseas, tweak a few things, launch a brand, and rely heavily on marketing, Revolin stands out by exploring and implementing new ideas, keeping their products made in the USA, and enhancing their sustainability efforts, all while competing with other top-tier products and brands. They definitely deserve some props and definitely got mine. Okay, that's it for this video. Till next time, play better. Peace.